good form running began. Everybody remember in the Wayback Machine, Five Fingers came out and everybody started running barefoot. There were a number of stores similar to ours, primarily a store up in Michigan, Playmakers, who were selling like minimalist shoes like crazy, and they realized they didn't know what to tell their customers how are you supposed to use them, because everybody's coming back with Achilles issues and aches and pains from going barefoot, from going from a regular shoe 40 miles a week and then not transitioning to barefoot and just going for it. So they started researching how to teach good form, and there's chi running, pose running, all kinds of different systems, but they're all very, very complicated. So they boiled it down to 4 basic kind of things that are easy to kind of watch for yourself or for your loved ones when you're running with someone. You can kind of observe their form and help them be more efficient. And efficiency is the whole ball of wax. That's what, if you, during the Olympics, you look at in the distance events particularly, you can spot the efficient runners. And 9 times out of 10, the efficient runners are the ones who are also earning medals, because their form is so much more efficient. They're laying out less energy, they're injured less, so form kind of dictates everything. What they did learn from the barefoot running is that when you run barefoot, you were designed to run barefoot. So you land more healthy, you don't overstride. There's a lot of things that people do in shoes that they don't do when they're barefoot. The trick is to run like you're barefoot in a pair of shoes that's protecting you from the concrete and the asphalt and the gravel. So they had actually an Olympian who worked at their store, Grant Robinson, so on the 10,000 meter specialist. Didn't win any medals, but he was really good. And he kind of put all this together for him, so that's where it comes from. And then when New Balance, actually I'm wearing a pair, the Minimus, when that came out, New Balance got behind the program they were offering and then kind of put all the bells and whistles on it so that they could take it around the country and teach everyone good form running to teach just like they do at Playmakers. So that's kind of the origin of it. But the main thing to remember too is it's all about being as efficient as you can, because again, efficiency, it's just like you're learning strokes in swimming. When you get a feel for the water, the difference, like your strokes going across the pool will be probably 12 compared to someone who's not efficient, might take 20 or 30 strokes to go the same distance. So you can imagine how much energy you save at the end of a run or throughout the run, and what a load off your body it is. So they broke it down into 4 basic things. The first thing is posture. So a lot of times when we're running, we tend to hunch our shoulders. A lot of people, their head wants to look at the ground for horse apples and pecans and things they're don't want to step on. And when you do that, you imagine your spine is a broomstick and your head is a bowling ball. And if you take that bowling ball and push it, rotate it forward, it's going to take that stick right with it. So basically you're braking. Well, I'll show you what happens. So instead of looking up, you look down. When you look down, your butt sticks out. When your butt sticks out, your mass is in front of your feet, and to catch up, you have to overstride. So posture is important because when you have the right posture, your lungs are open, you can get more oxygen in your lungs, and what do your muscles need when you're running? They need oxygen. So if you're all hunched over and minimize the capacity of your lungs, you're minimizing how much oxygen can get to your muscles when you're asking them to do a lot. So again, so shoulders back, head up. One trick is the posture reset, so if everybody can stand up. So you can do this before you run, you can do it while you're running, but basically you just raise your arms straight up and then bring them straight down to your side. But see how that throws your shoulders back, throws your chest out, and it puts your pelvis in that. And you think of the pelvis as like a cereal bowl, and you don't want to spill anything out of your cereal bowl. So you want to maintain consistency from your head all the way down to your foot when it strikes the ground. The other thing with posture that we should work on is the arm swing. So your arm swing is like it's like a pendulum, right? So it pivots from the shoulder. And if you've got a pendulum action going, the pendulum and gravity are doing half the work. So when you're running, you basically just want to add a 90-degree angle to that but you want to keep the pendulum going straight out from your shoulder, not in or across your body. Most often what you see is people running with their hands crossing their center line. That center line is your center of gravity that's trying to go linearly from point A to point B. And if you start sending energy left and right, then you're fighting yourself the whole way and you're less efficient.
Throwing your hips off when you're crossing.
You kind of throw everything off. And one of the keys to that, when your arms do cross across your body, is most likely your cadence is too slow. If you're moving your feet slow enough that your arms have time to swing from here to here, then something's off mechanically. And again, we want efficiency. My coach we had to do a Lay's potato chip quarter mile repeats. And you had to run a quarter with the potato chip between your fingers. And if it broke, you had to do another one. So you had to learn to relax your hands. So that is, again, we're trying to be efficient is the main thing with good form or efficiency. And wasting energy is a waste of our time. Simple things can also waste energy, not having enough hydration, because then your body is depleted and it starts kind of eating itself to keep you going and use all your stored energy instead of staying fresh. So we've got arm swing, relaxed hands, posture reset, and you can do the posture reset. You can do it. I usually recommend doing it right before you go, and then you get going, and then every mile or two, if you feel like you might not be in the right position, you can do it while you're running. You look a little weird, but I saw a guy at a race. I was like, he was doing that, and I was like, hey. Good form running, have you been? It's like, no, man, my sleeves are too long. His sleeves, like, okay. Category 2 is the midfoot. So everybody talks about midfoot, and most people, when they think midfoot, they picture someone up on their toes, like Jesse Owens or a sprinter. So a sprinter, if you're doing anaerobic, just as fast as you can go, you're going to use your legs and feet like pistons. You're not going to be like this fluid, athletic animal that distance runners are. On the side of your foot, there's a little bone where the peroneal tendons wrap around. But right there, when we were cavemen and didn't have shoes, that would sense the terrain and let your foot know. We've been in shoes for a few thousand years now, so we don't have that kind of active proprioception. But our foot still is designed to behave the same. So when you land, so when I'm talking about midfoot, I'm not talking about like up on the toes. It's almost like that hits the ground first, and then your forefoot and the heel engage with the ground. Value of that midfoot is the other option. So again, if your arm swing is crossing over and your cadence is low, when you're running, you tend to lead with your foot and you get that little check mark. When you get that midfoot and the lean and the posture and the cadence all right, it almost feels like you're just falling across the earth. Doesn't happen all the time, but when it does, it's like you've figured out your form. So the midfoot is important if, again, okay, so everybody kick off your shoes. Right, so now stand up. And first just jump up but land on your heels. You feel that impact? Yeah. So the shock in that heel, so the heel's a round bone that's designed to move with your body. It's not designed to, in fact, the little calcaneus shelf, the tibia and fibia, if you just ran barefoot and hit your heels, you'd be breaking your calcaneus every month or so. So the foot's designed to land on the outside and then it rolls through to the big toe. When you land midfoot, that midfoot hits first and then pretty much the ball of your foot and the heel load at the same time. So it's almost like a spring absorbing energy. And then when you push off, you have the acceleration because you're not slowing down because of that heel strike. All right, so now jump up and land on the ball of your foot. See the difference? So the knee, the hips, the ankles, the feet, they're all designed to be like perfect shock absorbers. So when you land on that midfoot, that means you can't overstride. That means that means your leg is not straight. So when you land, it has to land under your hip, right? So when you're landing midfoot, it stays under your hip versus when you're chasing your foot. And everybody try to go up on one heel. It's not easy, right? So when you land on your heel, you're asking your body to balance on a round, on like a lacrosse ball. and that's not many of us can do that. So your muscles will compensate for that by things up the kinetic chain doing stuff that they're not designed to do. And if you do it 1,000 times each foot, each mile, that's when you get tendinosis, tendinitis, all the runner stuff that we try to avoid. So landing midfoot ensures that your knee is soft and that you're not overstriding, and that's why midfoot is so important. And it's one of the easiest things you can check. Again, if you can have anyone with an iPhone can videotape you running from the side, and you can see, if you see that check mark, you know something's not right. And cadence, it's kind of like cycling. So when you have a high cadence when you're cycling, you're riding your bike, you're finding that gear that lets you move the pedals around with the least resistance but with the most power. You can find your cadence. You can use music. So you can ask Spotify, play me 180 beats per minute music, or give me a playlist for 180 beats. And but 180 beats you'll find is moving pretty fast. I mean, it's not a lot of speed necessarily. Speed is separate from cadence. Cadence is just the number of steps. So now everybody back up on their feet. And we're going to see, so this is one, we're going to do, let's see. I'm going to do 160, which is kind of the average runner out for a nice easy run. So pick your foot up to every beat. So that feels kind of like we're running. If you try to go from 160 to 180 all at once, you're going to be too tired. So everybody feel the difference? Yes. So it's substantial, but the easiest thing to do is, so this is just a metronome app, or again, you can download songs. So once you find it, then you can play with adjusting it up so that you can slowly build up. And I tried when I first, before the thickening happened and I was doing this, I tried to do 180 really hard and it just never felt right. So I got up to like 176. Having that cadence helps keep everything healthy, and also you have to be strong, so you have to have a decent core and core strength and foot strength, and those are elements that most runners, 20 years ago, all we did was run. Now, if you look at any good programs, there's like at least 2 days of weight training and strength training, and then a lot of stretching, a lot of recovery, things that we never did in the 80s. If running's your thing, it can't just be your only thing. Like I said, when everything lines up, it feels like you're just kind of falling across the ground. And the reason it feels like we're falling across the ground is because the hardest thing is the forward lean. So when we run, we don't want to run straight up and down. Because if you're straight up, if your cereal bowl is just straight up and down and you're bouncing up and down, your energy's going this way. When we run, it's linear, so we want our energy to be more of a flow instead of like a EKG report. We don't want that. We want more of a bell curve. And the secret to that is, so the faster you go, the more you should lean. So if you look at like pictures of sprinters, they're leaning like 20, 30 degrees. For us distance runners, we're not leaning 20 or 30 degrees. We just got to lean 4 or 5 degrees, so it's subtle. And the best way to find your lean is to just start walking in place and then keeping your hips locked, because we want to lean from our ankles. We don't want to lean from the waist. We want to lean from all the way down. So lean forward until it feels like you're going to fall. Make sense? And so the other thing about good form running, the reason they called it good form running, it's not called perfect form running. It's because everybody's biomechanics are different. And the idea is that good is good enough when you're a runner. Unless you're trying to go sub 4, like Faith is tomorrow at noon, we don't have to worry about being perfect. We just have to worry about protecting yourself, staying healthy, and being more efficient. And then everything else just falls in place.